Hey, you guys, welcome to another episode of Light and Love with Casey and Amanda. We're so happy that you guys are tuning in with us today.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us on this episode. We have some great stuff to cover and talk to you about today. Hope that all of you guys are doing well and this message just finds you right where you're at and it is a blessing to you. We are super excited, as Casey said, like always, to be here, and thank you for being with us.
Yes, we appreciate it so much. We hope everyone is having a great day. We're happy that you're pressing the play button, as Amanda would say. I love when you say that, Amanda. But we're so happy that you're pressing the play button to take a moment to listen.
Yes, we're super thankful, you guys, and just excited. We have some really great context and to talk to you about today. We're going to be talking about like spiritual health and what you're feeding your spirit essentially. And we have a really good scripture to go with that. And how but before we get started, Casey, how is everything going? How are you doing?
Girl, I'm so behind today. So, yeah, I'm behind, but I'm fine. I was like, you know what? We're getting this done today, and then I can finish doing my cleaning and getting situated. I got a grocery order here in a little while, so I'm gonna go pick those up today. I'm good, but how are you?
Girl, I'm excited. I did my grocery order yesterday and I'm going to make some fajitas for dinner. So I'm super excited about
Oh
that.
my gosh, that sounds so good.
I love good Taco Tuesday, okay?
Yes.
So the scripture, you guys, bear with us. We have to be a little lighthearted with you guys and just share a little bit of us and like what's going on with us. And if you guys just want to reach out to us about anything that you have going on too, like feel free to share that with us too. To know that this is an open listening platform where you can come to us with just your everyday stuff too, if you want to. If you need someone to talk to, we're here. So you can send that, of course, over to the email in the podcast description. We'll recap that at the end, but I'm going to get into
I
the scripture for
love that. That was so good, Amanda. That
Thank
was
you.
so
You're
good.
so sweet, Casey. Um, the scripture is going to be out of Romans 12:2, and I'm going to read from the Message translation today. It's going to be specifically Romans 12:1 and 2. It says, so here's what I want you to do. God helping you, take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well formed maturity in you.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good. So good. What it was the last little part that you said of that scripture, if you don't mind me asking?
Not at all. It says, so I'm going to start from where it says, don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well formed maturity in you. And there are different translations of scripture, you guys. And honestly, I think as I've navigated this Christian walk, I'm just going to add this little snippet really quick that different translations, um, people, I will say for me, like I read a lot out of the New Living Translation of the Bible. It's easier for me to understand. I also read out of the Message translation of the Bible a lot, but like just trust me here because different translations might speak differently to you at different times. And so I just wanted to add that little snippet so that you guys can understand, like other translations, it says that you will be able to discern and approve what is the perfect will of God for your life. And it goes right along with what we're talking about in spiritual health. That way we can discern the things that we are feeding our spirit. And is this bringing me something, a negative outcome as I'm putting it in, or is it bringing me a positive outcome as I'm putting it in?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I love that you just actually explained the different translations in the Bible because I like the Message version. And I used to have like this green Bible. It was called the Living Bible, and it was very easy for me to understand. But I did find one. Some of you guys that know me, I go thrifting. And so I found this really cool one, and it's a New Living Bible. But I love that you explained that because I know when I first started my spiritual journey, the one that I always saw was a King James, and I could never understand it. So thank you for going over that, because I think that, especially like if you're just starting your spiritual journey and you're kind of like, I can't understand this, don't be ashamed that you don't understand it, because I still sometimes be like, okay, hold on, let me go back to the message version
Yeah,
of this scripture, because it does help me understand. So that was really cool that you went over that, Amanda. That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
you're welcome. And you guys Google. I mean, my pastor has said multiple times, like, if someone comes to me and they're like, I read my Bible and I was confused, he says, well, that's good, because I know you were reading it, because it can be a lot. It's almost like a different it's completely different than what we're used to seeing in the world, right? So the information can be a lot, but over time you develop this sense of understanding more, and God will reveal to you. Like, I never thought I would be interested in actually reading my Bible, like enjoy it, but I got to that place, and so I just wanted to things that I remember navigating through, like just wanted to talk that on there. But the scripture, like how it states, like you'll be changed from the inside out too, that is true. That
That
is
is.
so very true. And Casey and I are currently navigating in a season where the things that we're going through is requiring us to change first. And the specific word that we are using right now, or the 3-letter sentence, is change me, Lord.
Yes, and I love that. And that's where I think this topic for today is really going to help a lot of people navigate through things, because the change does start in us, and it starts in us. And so, what's in us? A spirit, a beautiful, amazing spirit. So, today, this topic is perfect. It's so perfect, you guys. And we're just happy that you guys are tuning in and joining us. But I love that. And yes, like, how you just said that 3 words, change me, Lord, change me. So that spiritual that spiritual change is so amazing, and it's so beautiful as you navigate through your spiritual journey.
It is. And it's something that once you start to see it manifest, like on the inside, the changes are taking place inside, because you no longer want to be around people who are toxic for you. Or you'll notice that like your style in music has changed, or, things like that, as you start to change from the inside out. But the outward manifestation takes place as well. And I think that it's just all a part of the beautiful transformation that God has for his children and the life that he has for us. It's all about love. And I think it's just incredible to be really bring talking about what we are putting into our spirit, because it is so important.
It really is. And just, how you just said it's about love. And I think about that last affirmation that we read last week. It says, my spirit is filled with love and compassion. I shine my spirit and my light on those around me. And so just to go and read that affirmation, you know, um, it is about love. It is about compassion. It's about peace. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get into this, because I know for me, when I first started my spiritual journey, I did not realize what I was feeding to my spirit. And you guys, that doesn't mean, just um I don't know. It doesn't mean just, okay, yes, you do have to be aware of the crowd you're around for sure, but also like, try like complaining or frustrations, things like that. But we're gonna get into that. So Amanda, you can start off, because I'll go down a rabbit hole and I don't want to mess up the flow.
No, you're
So,
doing a great job.
um,
I'm just
but yeah,
excited. I was thinking, I just want to say this too. Like, each of us is made up of spirit, soul, and body. There's a great book that it's by Andrew Womack. You guys could, if you're ever interested in learning more about that, it is a plethora and a very great source of wisdom. We have Casey and I've navigated through that book together. I think it's twice actually now, but it will kind of, give you, if you're lacking insight, or, you're just not sure about the whole spirit thing, like it really breaks that down for you. So it's a great opportunity just to read that book and kind of learn if there are things there that you're wanting to know, or but it definitely, the importance of like what we're putting into our spiritual body, or I'm sorry you guys, into our spirit, is like a very, very serious thing. And like you said, Casey, like before you didn't even realize it. And that's how I feel too. And it's like, how can I let my light shine if everything I'm putting into me is negative? And it's not always people are around. It can be things that we watch on TV. It can be music we listen to. It can be negative self-talk. It can be so
It
many
can.
things that come into us that we're not even aware of. And I know for me, a long time, a long time I spent being completely unaware of what was coming into my spirit.
Yes, for sure. And the negative self-talk, I think for me was something that like really stayed with me for a while. Just the negative self-talk. And I was like, um, I re- I have a friend that I remember like a couple of years back, like we would, be dealing with certain things, whether it was like, frustrations, depression, or whatever. And we would just go the whole day and not talk about any of it. And just spend that whole day, just whether it was us going to like a food truck day or something like that. But we'd be like, nope, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to, nope, we're not going to even visit that because we knew that it would open up to other things that will lead us back into that dark space. So just with the spiritual health, it is extremely important because that's the key aspects of health, you know. And so when you surround yourself with positive energy, positive situations, positive talk, this is so important because it can increase the feelings of inner peace and hope.
Casey, I love that. I think that's so smart that you and your friend were able to do that. And that's something that you and I have been working on recently as well. Like, we really had to look at our situation and our circumstances, what kind of negative things we needed to take out so that we could be successful in this season and in what we're doing right now in our lives.
Yes, and I'm so happy that we are because I feel like since we have started doing that, I felt better, you
Me
know?
too.
Yes, yes. So I'm just really happy that we're able to do that and just be able to. And something else, okay, something else that I think about too that I love what you always say is self awareness. It starts with self awareness and self discipline as well.
It really does. And the self awareness, like, it is very important. You know, I always think about all the time, like, it can be so easy to look at someone else or their situation or who they are and point out their things. It can be harder to look inside and see, what do I need to change? But like I've said before, like, that's the season that we're in right now too, is really like, change me, Lord. Like, where
Yes.
can I change? Where can I improve? And I think that the incredible thing about God is, like, when you get closer to him, things start to fall off of you. You're no longer, like I said earlier, like, comfortable maybe in the same kind of environment, in the same crowd, in the same kind of negative thought patterns that you've been stuck in for years, and to see those things come off of you, and to be, like you were saying the other day, me and Casey were talking, and she's like, 10, I want to be 10 out of 10, and not looks wise, like, you already a 10 out of 10, K, but
Girl, you a
looks
10 out of
wise.
10. Okay.
So, but we are saying, like, when she was saying that to me, she was referencing like a time, like, mentally, spiritually, I
Yes.
want to be 10 out of 10. Like, I want to be able to push, to make changes, to push things out, to stand in faith. And I don't know, it just hits different whenever you're able to be a little bit more self-aware. And that's something that I grew into, I will say. And I wasn't always like that. So I'm thankful for
Yeah.
that change in me, that now I do say, okay, what can I do differently?
Yes, I love that. And when we think about the spiritual health and how we spoke about it, it can be that environment or it can be different conversations, because I think about, sometimes, if you're at work or if you're hanging out, if you're in an event or wherever you may be, you may walk up in a conversation that may be a little bit more negative, and you can feed off of that, that negativity. um or sometimes you may have to put that phone on do not disturb for a moment, you know what I'm saying, because it could be that conversation that kind of like gets you out of your zone, but
Definitely.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, specifically for me too. I have been, breaking off negative venting. If even if when I have validity in what I'm saying, like, validity in the fact that, okay, this is really awful, I am stepping out of that right now. Like, even though this whatever's happening, whatever's taking place, like, is not great, I'm not going to feed that by continuously talking about it. I need to take a step back from venting negatively and rechannel my focus onto something that is going to be productive.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes, because I think that negatively venting is very easy for us to do. Um and before you know it, you're spending an hour talking about the negativity that's going on, but let's pour into what's positive is going on. Just being able to walk outside of your home and see the beautiful, creation that you get a chance to see. The beautiful, like I said on the last episode, me and you were always saying, just the sun or the rainbows, whatever it is, just this beautiful creation when you walk outside and you can take that walk, you can spend that time with nature. um just different things like that. Spend that time with your children, your family members. Because that negative venting, to me, man, it can just mess up your day. And you don't even realize that hour, that 2 hours that you spent venting negatively can do to your spirit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that when people, and myself included, when we realize how much frustrations that can put on your day, on your time, I think that's when that self-awareness does kick in, that self-discipline, just like we're trying to do, you know?
Absolutely. And just being that self-awareness, like we've already said, you guys, like, it's so important, but just being more aware is going to be able to help you discern better, like, what when I put this into my body, what is coming out of it? Am I getting something, positive out of this? If I'm not, let me try to do something that is positive. And Casey and I have some, like, different techniques that her and I work through together. Like we've said, like, in this season too, I've also taken certain words out of my vocabulary. I refuse to use certain words right now because it's not feeding the positive visions that I have for my life. And so it can look so different and unique for everybody, but you guys, there is so much more going on than just what you can hear, taste, touch, smell, and feel. Okay,
It
there is
is.
so many different things going on. So it really is best to take that step back and analyze the bigger picture of what is going on.
Oh my gosh, I loved all that. And you know what it makes me think of too? Like, when you feed your spirit that negativity, um, just saying, like, when we talked about being honest in the crowd, when you're in that environment and you're feeding yourself that negative and you're surrounding yourself with that, we talked about it earlier today in our meeting. Like, when you do that, before you know, that behavior falls on you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That behavior, that talk, it falls on you. And not saying none of us are perfect. We already know, like, none of us are perfect. But if you're trying to stay out of, or if you're trying to change yourself, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take those words out of your vocabulary, like you just said, I'm gonna take those words out. You're not going to go somewhere where you're going to feed, where your spirit can be fed that negativity. You're
exactly.
going to continue to say those words. So if you're trying to make those changes in your life, you guys, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to go to that environment, or I'm not going to have those conversations because I do want to change my vocabulary. I do want to change my thought process. You can't revisit that. And like I said, we're not perfect, and you may revisit it 10 times, but on that 11th time, you're going to realize, like, okay, that's enough. You
I
know
love
what I'm saying?
Yes, Casey, I love that. And it is a learning process. It's a process of learning. I mean, before we decided to, make the changes that we're making now, we spent a lot of time, having to really sit back and go through those things to learn, okay, this time we're going to do it different. And this time these things are going to it's going to bring us a better results when we do it better. And I don't know, it's a lot of information and it's a lot of wisdom, but like one of the biggest strategies that Casey and I collectively can both agree, I know, Casey, this was the major one that you had wrote down when you shared your notes with me, was prayer.
Yeah.
Pray just to discern, God, show me, what am I putting into my spirit that is not good, that is not feeding positivity, or what.
Yes. 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 And prayer, you guys, like that's going to be your go-to, because I feel like that's that moment where you have that communication with God when you can literally come as you are, as me and Amanda always speak about, come as you are. That prayer, um, and what's and when I just spoke earlier about like walking outside, spending that time in nature, that can be included as well when you go into that
Yes.
prayer. You know what I'm saying? Take a walk in nature, get into gardening, journaling and reading, all that.
Definitely. I mean, I just think about even spending, since I've taken certain words out of my vocabulary, I'm not going to take advice from people who would pour those words into me because I don't need that right now. Like just
Mm-mm.
being careful of the advice you're taking, spend time with people who are like minded, with
Yes,
that are going to lift you up and encourage you to be able to make those changes. That way on that 11th time when you are ready, you can have that person that is like-minded with you and say, great job. I know it may have taken 11 times, but the fact that you even tried again was incredible. And the fact that you're willing to do this, you have that person to lift you up and to support you. And I will say another thing, like I've been through many challenging things in my life. And I think that over time, as we get, deeper into this podcast series, I will be able to share some of those things with you. And I know that a lot of you who are listening have been through extremely difficult things in your life too. And you're still maybe even actively navigating through some incredibly difficult things. You can always, always, always find something to be thankful for. I'm going to be completely transparent with y'all and let you guys know that there was a season in my life. I promise you, where the only thing that I could even think to be thankful for was my cat, Peter. And I'd be like, Lord, I thank you for Peter.
oh my God, I
I thank you for
love
my cat.
that.
And I just,
Yes,
but just find something like Casey's saying, if you can get outside and get walking and just kind of connect with the something beautiful, like, God, I'm thankful that I'm able to get out here and walk. Give
yes,
thanks, find something to be thankful for, and fast those negative things. Like, break away from them, take those words out of your vocabulary, take a step back and analyze what kind of negative things are coming to your life. See if you can find the source and then cut the source off.
Oh, I love that.
And I will
I
say
love
too,
that right there. I love that. As one of my friends always says, that right there.
so
Like
good.
I love that because yes, fast away from that. You know, because I just I'm gonna tell you, like when people say like the mind really is a battlefield, it really can be, you know.
Girl.
So when you're feeding your spirit stuff that you're trying to either pull away from, or when you realize like, okay, that part of my life, that negative part right there, I need to, like you just said, fast away from that. Because when you do, you guys, you're going to experience better confidence, better self-esteem, better self-control. There's so many things, and your purpose, your peace, your hope, and your meaning will all flourish and grow. Okay? It will
Oh
grow.
yes, that's right. Yes, yes, yes. That was a whole word, Casey. That is so good. Like I I love that. It's we are growing every day, and if we're not growing, we should be actively seeking to grow in some area. I don't think any of us is I know that we're not. No one is perfect. Like, and we're never gonna be perfect on this side of glory, but we can actively strive to grow towards a better, more well lived life. And I
Yes.
think that, being self-aware, like we've already stated, but, just actively working on it over and over, even if it does take that 11th, 12th time, keep going. You guys are doing amazing. Don't look at the past times where it didn't work out. Just step forward into that positive, mind frame of, I've got this, I'm an
Yes.
overcomer, and do your affirmations like we were talking about last week. And that's something that, excuse me, we're still doing too. And I know that you guys are going to see positive results. I highly encourage you just to continue to analyze. And I will say too, like, if you, wherever you're at in your spiritual walk, you know, even going to attend a church service, maybe you've never attended a church service, maybe you're interested but you're just not sure where to start. I would encourage you to even try that, because I it can be intimidating, especially if you've never been, but it can also be life changing and life giving. So I just would encourage you that if you have not, or, if you're nervous, to step out in that, and just try it at least one time,
I
at least
love
once.
that. I
And
love that. That
I
was so
just want
good.
to say this too, like, a well-fed spirit, it's essential into stepping into our callings and living this life well. So, I just,
I love that, Amanda. I'm so happy you put that in there. Um, when you said that, I instantly thought about to you guys. Just start maybe reading the scripture a day. Just start reading the scripture a day.
you
Just
bring
just
your
find your
little,
scripture. Yeah, and just start reading that one scripture. Just a day. Just put that in your daily habit.
and like Casey was saying with prayer too, it just, God, come as you are, like, come as you are, because God will take your little and he'll multiply it. So even if you don't have words, he sees your heart, and he, like, even if you're nervous, you can take that step, that little step, and he will do great things with it. He
It
is a God
will.
that multiplies great things, and he can take that little and just do a lot with it. So just be encouraged. You guys, stay self-aware, check what you're putting into your spirit, but also actively pursue that well-balanced, spirit life, where your spirit is healthy and what you're putting into it is healthy, so that you can do life well.
Yes, for sure. And I loved all of that, Amanda, because I think that coming as you are, taking that step, just taking that first step, and check your spirit, you guys. Check your spirit, because when you see, hey, I can step away from that conversation. I don't have to say nothing on that conversation. I can just walk away from that. You know what? I don't have to watch the news today. I'm going to take my moment away from the news today, and instead I'm going to read something that's going to make me laugh. Like, check
Absolutely.
check that spirit, check your spirit, read that Bible scripture, just one scripture a day. Take that step to visit that church, whatever. But you will see positive outcome in it. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to make your spirit feel better. You're going to be more confident. Self-esteem is going to be better, and you're going to find your purpose. You're going to have that peace, that inner peace, you guys. We just thank you guys so much for tuning in with us today. We have been all over the place. We're a little behind, but we love you guys so much.
We
And
do.
we're going to go get these grocery orders and pick these children up from school. And we just are happy that you guys could join us today.
Yes, you guys, stay encouraged. You're doing a great job. We love you so much. We'll see you next week on another episode of Light and Love. Remember, you can always send over your prayer requests to the email listed in the podcast descriptions. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.
Love you
Bye.
guys. Bye.